Booyah. Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to Send the Record Straight podcast. It's your boy vicslanghope.
It's Kai.
Calling. And today we're gonna be talking about the ills of pornography. Yeah. You know, we live in the age of like so much technological advancement, right? Like damn near like a phone comes out like every other week. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. Um with just like the accessibility to like the computer. I remember when I was growing up, salute, salute. I remember when I was growing up, like, we didn't even really have access to the internet like that or certain things, right? Now everybody got a smartphone, everything touchscreen, everything this, everything that. So like with that comes, you know, not just children, but like, an influx of a lot of stuff. And we also live in a highly, I think, sexualized time where I feel like a lot of shit is normalized. Um, that wasn't really necessarily normalized back in the day. So with that being said, we wanted to talk about like the ills of pornography. A lot of times, um, porn is advocated, right, or masturbation. Like we see certain places where people are like, oh, like some medical practitioners. I don't know if they're medical practitioners or what sort of say, but we hear it all the time. People be like, oh, it's okay to masturbate. It's okay to do this. It's okay to like, you know, whatever, to get to know yourself and so forth. But oftentimes, a lot of times people, I would say a lot of times guys too, predominantly, they watch porn to kind of like get off, right? A lot of people learn how to have sex from porn, right? Like even as kids, I remember like as kids, like me and my cousins, we used to sneak around and watch porn and shit. Like, it was just like I don't know. I feel like I don't even know where it come from. I don't know. I feel like sometimes you get exposed to it. Maybe you might catch your parents or maybe somebody else. Sometimes certain kids that parents maybe don't watch them like that. So we always get introduced to some type of porn or some type of something some way. So we just want to talk about the ill effects because oftentimes there's not a lot of research really on like the ill effects of porn because they always trying to sell us porn. So we we just wanted to share like some of the ill effects of pornography.
Oh, um, so I feel like, um, so just a comment real quick on what you said. I agree with what you said. I think masturbation is okay, right? Um, but I agree with you too, right? I feel like sometimes masturbation and porn go hand in hand because people usually use porn to masturbate. But if we could separate the two, I don't really find any issues with masturbation. Um, I find issues with porn usage. So yeah, like I think that porn is like dangerous, like on a lot of levels. And I think that there's no watch porn less or create more empathetic um porn, right? Like I think that porn it should just be technically porn should just be eradicated, right? I don't think there's any positive use of porn. I don't think there's any. It's like a drug. Porn is a drug, right? Porn is like highly addictive and exploitative on so many different levels. And I feel like there's no way that we can censor it. There's no way that we can monitor its usage. It's like another drug. It's like meth, right? We don't go and say, oh, just take meth once a week, right? When we deal with people who are addicted to meth, right? Like we're our ultimate goal is to get them off of meth completely. So much like other drugs, I think porn. Nobody should watch porn, right? So yeah, I think porn is like highly addictive. It's exploitative, like on many levels in terms of like the consumers. It exploits its consumers. It exploits the people who are participating in that business, specifically women. And I think that one of the first steps in order to engage in healthy sexual relationships is to stop engaging in porn. Because oftentimes people take what they see in porn and they try to use those things in real life because they think that that's the right way to like have sex or this is the right way to like engage with people. And 9 times out of 10, what we see in porn is porn stars are actresses. What we see in porn is not real, right? Porn is usually exaggerated, um, and porn is just not the way that we should mirror how we want to engage with people in terms of sex. Um, period. So yeah.
Yeah, you passing the ball, you passing the rock. Yeah,
Hmm.
jump in. Now, but definitely, I definitely agree. I think, yeah, I definitely agree. I also think masturbation is different for men than it is for women. Um, so like you mentioned that you agree. I think that like as kids, of course, kids always touch themselves, right? They don't understand like how certain things work. I think as kids, like kids always curious. So like I think in that sense, yeah, I mean, kids gonna touch themselves. As you growing up, you trying to figure out stuff. So I get it, in the sense, but I think at the same time, like, um, I think like when guys lose sperm, it's like it affects their body differently than like women. So like I think that like it's a lot of nutrients in the sperm and stuff like that. So even like when you're masturbating, right? Even when you're like, that's why like a lot of guys been talking about like sperm retention and all these other stuff, right? Because they understanding how like when we lose those nutrients, like our bodies is deficient in certain things, which leads to certain things. That's why sometimes like guys get lazy after. Um Also, masturbation is like easy accessible, right? It's one thing when you're trying to sleep with a woman, or you got your wife, and y'all doing things throughout the day, so it's like y'all not, what I'm saying, y'all not really like in the vicinity to kind of like have the access sometimes. Or and then when you have kids, it's a lot of stuff that comes into it, right? But then like with porn, it's like, yo, you could just get the phone, you could just flip the laptop, you could just do certain things, but make sure you like the video. So one of the things like you mentioned, I was reading this report and it was talking about how porn actually has a lot of effects, right? A lot of like negative effects. And they were saying like some of them are psychological, mental, some of them are physical. And some of the things they were saying that it could be addictive, right? Like porn is something that can become addictive, because it's the release of dopamine, right? You kind of like chasing that high. You chasing, you see some of these guys out here, right? They be trying to like sleep with women and they be going crazy. I don't know if they be touching themselves or not, but you see when guys be kind of like they just want to have sex, right? And you see how they kind of like harass and they run down on these women. So that's like that urge, right? That urge that you just want to get it. But when you're like dealing with porn, you can always get it, and it's easy. It's almost like drugs. When a drug is easy accessible, it's easier to get addicted to it. um but anyway, I wanted to mention something else. It was all right. It was the issues, the psychological issues. You also tapped upon how, like you said, they are actors. It affects the reality. It affects like the perceptions of reality, because again, like you said, they are actors. And if you look at some of the categories on porn, like it's crazy, right? Like me and you was even talking about like this like fantasy, right? Like some of the things be like fantasy rape, like it'd be like little fantasy rape thing. The article was also saying that like um porn can lead to perverse behavior, and part of it because some of these men are looking at like some crazy shit in porn, right? Like they might be looking at like you remember me and you was talking about how like some men like that little teen, like they like those little actresses that they look like little girls, and
Yes.
like with an older guy, like it just be like little crazy scenarios, right? um so that affects your perception of reality, especially if you constantly watch that same category. Like it starts to change your brain. It's like the music; it starts to alter and change, right? So it was also saying that porn kind of is like one of the reasons why it leads to a further objectification of women. They were saying like, all right, there was that already existed, but they were saying porn kind of like further leads to that, like it further amplifies that. They also mentioned, all right, so they mentioned the addiction. They mentioned that like, it does certain things to your body. It does certain things to your brain, right? They mentioned that it might affect your marriage. It mentions that people become desensitized to certain things. There's certain people, that can't get hard without watching porn when they're with their partner. Like, so it just affects like different parts of the life, like with your mind, body, and different things. So those were just some of the things. The article was also stating that like there's not a lot of research. Like a lot of research is not funded to talk against porn because it's like porn is a big industry, right? It makes a lot of money. Um, it was also saying that like connected to something to sex trafficking. They was connecting it like to like the sex trafficking issues. So they were just saying all that stuff makes money for whoever it be, right? The powers that be. So they're not gonna fund research that make people stop watching porn. So they were saying that's why it's so hard to kind of like get enough money to kind of like, make people like stop watching porn or stop going against it because then they're gonna be cutting off money from, the people who benefit from it.
Right. Um, I agree definitely with everything that you said. Porn is highly addictive. And there's many different the way that your brain is set up. Your brain is almost like plastic, right? Like not plastic as in it is plastic, but plastic as in like it molds, right? And based off of the things that like we experience and we watch, like our brain like responds to things differently, and it's shaped and it's molded over time. And so our brain releases dopamine, it releases serotonin, it releases a whole bunch of other names, right, that I can't remember at the time. Um, and so the reason why porn is so addictive is because these are the same drugs that are being released when we actually do hardcore drugs, right? So people are chasing that high. And to go into what you said, right? Porn definitely does. Porn is a dangerous world because for those people who have it preys on specific types of people, and it's like a free world, right? So for people who have like perverted thoughts, right, for pedophiles, right, for people who are sexual deviants, right, it's a perfect world for them because they're able to go online and find these crazy videos or these crazy scenarios that otherwise would not be normal, right? So what is like fantasy rape, right? Because this is something that cannot be performed in real life because sexual assault is a crime, and you should not be sexually assaulting somebody, right? So if it's a crime to like sexually assault a woman, why is it that I could go on Pornhub or I can go on these porn sites and search up videos and watch somebody imitate somebody being like sexually assaulted, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a crime for me to have sex with an underage girl. Why is it that when we do go on these porn sites, we're finding images and videos of these women who may be of age, but specifically look like they're very underage, right? They're very petite, they're very small, and oftentimes they're being put with like these very like large men, right? To even further capitalize on them, like being like small, petite, and like underage. Um, and so I think that another problem for me, I think like with porn is that porn, and this goes kind of like into like hookup culture. That could be like a completely different other topic, but I feel that like the way that like sexual exploitation and porn go hand in hand, right? Oftentimes, when people are engaging in porn, they're consuming people as objects, right? We're picking up a porn video and watching a porn video like we're picking up like a loaf of bread in the supermarket. Like that's literally how accessible like these videos are. We're viewing these people like not as human beings, but as objects, right? And as soon as we're like bored with like one video, right, we swipe off and we go to the next. Very similar to how we swipe off when we engage in dating sites, right? Like I like you, swipe. If I don't like you, right,
Yeah.
you're not a human being. Like you're not an actual person. Um, and I think that sometimes like it's clear in a lot of cases that the women in these videos like may not be enjoying the sex, right? And it's interesting because oftentimes women are the focal point of these videos, right? Women are the focus. A lot of times we don't even see these men. We don't even see their faces, right? We just only see the woman, right? And what is being done to the woman. But despite the focus of the video being on the woman, her pleasure is not a focal point of the video, right? Like we're not focusing on whether or not she's really truly enjoying this experience, right? Also, porn is not being directed, filmed, and being yeah, it's not being filmed, it's not being directed,
It,
it's
it
not being
doesn't show like everything that's actually going on.
Not only that, it's not being film directed or regulated by women,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Men. It's
I mean, there's some women that work, but yeah, I get predominantly, yeah.
And the reason being is because men are the ones who are consuming porn.
But you know, Pinky got her own production.
Men are the ones who are consuming porn far, far more than women. So because of that, they're the ones who are in these spaces who are like controlling and saying, "Oh, this is what people want to see," and boom, 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 right? So I think like porn is a lie, right? Porn is a it's acting. It's like literally like
It's a fantasy.
yeah, exactly. So
Remember
whenever
you were saying, like, oh, like if I if I want to be with an Asian girl, I go watch Asian porn. If I want to be with a white girl, I go put a white girl on. If I want to be, it just caters to whatever you're looking for. If you know you can't get an Arab woman, or you know you can't get a Chinese or whatever, right? But then boom, you can search up in porn category and bang, you got
right,
what you was looking for.
and oftentimes right, people can't tell the
Can't
difference.
hear you.
Hello,
Oh man, I don't even know what to do.
you can't hear me at all.
Nah, I don't know why the voice is like that. No. I forgot this happened last time, and I don't know what I did.
You can't hear
Um,
me at all, like at all.
I could hear you, but you sound funny. Like, make sure y'all like the video. Hold on. Oh man, I hate this. Um, damn, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody said we can hear y'all both.
they say you can hear you.
Somebody in the comments. Can y'all comment? Can y'all hear me?
All right, they said they could hear us, but I can't really hear you. So, I could hear you, but it's like it
It's low.
sounds like I don't know. I think it might be my phone because my phone did this last time. But I could hear you. But yeah, you were saying something.
Oh, what I was saying was, I feel like porn is a lie, and oftentimes I feel like people can't tell the difference. So people go out in the world and they engage in sex in the same way that they see porn being performed. And it's interesting because porn, oftentimes, if we look at the people, like going back to what you said, right? Like people will be like, "Oh, I want to deal with an Asian," or like, "I want to deal with an Arab," right? People oftentimes when we look at what's trending, when we look at what people are looking at, that oftentimes tells like um, about like the race relations like within America specifically, right? And what yeah, porn is like extremely. That's another thing though. Porn is extremely racist, like extremely racist on so many different levels. Um, and so white women actually like are not, despite white women being married the most, right? White women are not being desired the most, right? When it comes to porn and when it comes to fantasy, right? Because men
I
do.
don't know, man. Dudes like watching them gangbangs on white girls.
This is, I mean, this is facts, right? Like everybody, I encourage everyone to like search it up, right? White women are not. If we had a totem pole, right? If we had like a
Oh no,
rate
yeah. As far as desirement, yeah.
of 1 to 10, right? White women are not the first. White women are not the fifth. White women are not the sixth. White women are not the seventh, right? Like people are not going to watch white women on porn. At least maybe black men, right? But everybody else, no, right? And the vast majority of people who consume porn like are white people, right? So because of that, I think that the first top three, and I think I'm saying this in succession, is Asian, Black, or otherwise categorized as ebony, and then Spanish. And specifically within Spanish, I believe Brazilian is the top one in terms of out of Spanish.
Latinas,
What
not
are being
Spanish. Latinas.
Latinas, right? That are being sought after a seat within porn. So I think that's interesting, right? It's interesting to see like what these men are interested in like looking at. Um, and who is being fetishized the most, right? And white women are not fetishized nearly as much um, as all these other women are.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't look into like what who being desired the most, because I feel like a lot of people don't like watching black porn. You know what I'm saying, like, I feel like some people feel like black women are dirty or like black men are dirty, and some people don't like watching that shit. Um, so I don't know, but Ebony's, I don't know. Maybe if they light skin, I feel like people like watching ambiguous black women. Um, but
Sweetheart,
again,
sorry to tell you. It's sorry to tell you. Can you hear me?
yeah,
All right, yeah, sorry to tell you, but black women are, in terms of ranking of what is the searches, it number two. I think maybe
yeah,
because
like I said, I don't know.
I think maybe because of hip hop, right? I think maybe because strip club culture is very popularized, right? Because fat asses are popularized, right? The big booty black girls, they're being searched up. This is what people are watching. This is what people are masturbating to. So yeah, maybe in real life, right? Like people are not seeking these women to marry them and be with them. But in terms of their sexual fantasies, what they're interested in late at night at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's the big booty black chicks with the big hoop earrings and the big butt. That's what they're looking for.
You just saying that because you got hoops on. But
I'm not.
nah, nah.
Yeah,
I'm just messing with you.
I say big hoops because that's also a black girl thing, right? So,
Yeah. So somebody said if we eradicate porn, will sex crimes go up or down? Make
um,
sure y'all like the video so it can circulate.
I think it would. I think it
It
would.
will what? Go down? Up?
I think it would go down. I think it will go down. Because I think porn is like very misogynistic. I think porn also is like sexually violent, and I think that porn and the way that porn is performed is not performed as something that two people are both participating in. Porn is oftentimes presented as something that a man is doing to a woman, which means that in the way that that is being performed, women are not able to speak up for themselves, women are not able to advocate for themselves, and women's pleasure is not at the center of what is occurring, right? So we don't care if she had an orgasm, right? Like we don't care if she enjoyed it. We don't care if it's a consensual. Matter of fact, sometimes people like the fact that it might not be consensual, right? Matter of fact, some men may like the fact that she's in pain, right? Like that's a thing, right? People are like turned on by those things. And it's very confusing and it's very misleading because if you do go out into this world and you do actually perform porn in that way in real life, you have the very real possibility of you catching a sexual assault case, right? Like if you can't randomly. We have videos of girl pulling up on the side of the road asking a dude for a ride. All of a sudden she's being snatched in the back of a van and being like vigorously and violently um you know, I don't even know how to say it the right way, but being penetrated, right? And then she's like, she's screaming in pain. Her face is red. He's slapping her. He's just being very aggressive and abrasive. And this is something that people seek and watch.
Stepping on the head, trampling.
Right. But think about it. Think about it. You can't go out into this world and snatch a girl on the side of the road and drag her into the back of your van and tie her up and do this or do all these type of crazy things to her, right? You know what I'm saying? Like that's not real, right?
Yo, but you say you like that though, the stepping on the head with the Tims.
Victor, continue. Cause you are like on a roll, for real.
Yeah, yo, but nah, nah. That was a joke, y'all. That was a joke. But yo, what I was gonna say, I was gonna say something. Damn, you see, you're making me laugh, man. I was gonna say something. Yo, but nah, that's real talk though. But nah, I gotta agree with the bro right here. He said that's cap, because you said predominantly men watching. He said that's cap. Women watch porn just as much. It's not a gender issue, it's a psychological issue. And then you mentioned some other, hold on, you mentioned some other woman stuff. Oh, the women and like they don't have no control over what's happening and this and that. And I think that at the same time, because I feel like at the same time, it be some guys that don't be into it. Like, so I think yes, there's women that don't be into it, but I think it's also be guys that don't be into it. Like shit be trash, and they constantly gotta do other things. Like they constantly. And remember, you was talking about like some shit. I don't know what you was reading or what you was looking up. Like that there's always a woman behind the scene trying to keep the guys hard. Remember, you was telling me something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that like yeah, like it's just a yeah. I think it's overall. I don't think maybe maybe it's like a 60-40. I don't know. I don't think it's like a very I don't know. I do think it's a psychological issue because I remember like my homegirls when I was growing up, these girls that I was going to middle school with, they was wilding, and I feel like the girls growing up, they was freaking off way at a way earlier age than the guys. I feel like wow, that's my experience when I was growing up. When I was in middle school, like these girls were getting crazy in the staircase. I don't know what they were seeing. I don't know what they was doing. But that my experience was like the guys was a little more like you know what I'm saying like, and the girls was just like throwing it on them. And you know they say women mature quicker than men, but hey, my homegirls they used to love watching porn. Like they was I wasn't even watching porn like that. Like they was watching porn like crazy. Like, so I don't know. But then again, you said you looked up the statistics or whatever. But yeah, I was like, I feel like I don't think it's so much a gender thing. Because I definitely think women definitely be wanting sex more than guys. Um, I believe. So mm and like you said, like I think like that want and that desire, and like when you could just like now, right? Toys are being advocated, right? Like for women, like crazy. You seeing like advocating of toys and all that shit. So I don't know if people be watching porn or women be watching porn when they play with the toys, or if they just I don't know. So
Up for yourselves, but men watch porn more than women, right? I'm not gonna sit here and argue about that. And the women, and the women who do watch porn, right? A vast majority of those women tend to watch same-sex porn more than men do, right? So a lot of straight women or women who do not identify as gay, right? Even when they do watch porn, are watching lesbian porn because oftentimes lesbian porn centers women's pleasure more than the heterosexual porn does. So I mean, yeah, y'all could do y'all own research. Y'all could Google for yourself. There's nothing really left to say on that.
somebody talking about bang bros and shit. Anyway, you gotta remember, majority of women have created OnlyFans, creating their own porn. Um, yeah, that too. You know what I'm saying? Women create they directing their own videos now. They ain't gotta go to porn. You know what I'm saying? They self-made porn stars now. You know what I'm saying? Um, but yeah, definitely another thing that we was talking about. Um, it was when I quit. Somebody said when I quit, I became a better person, and the way that I view women changed for the better. Yeah, that makes sense. Another thing we was talking about was remember we was talking about we was talking about that thing with the husband dick and the it was something on Twitter that everybody was talking about what they was calling it. They was calling it the boyfriend penis.
Yeah,
Um, and then we was talking about how that was another thing that porn contributes to, right? It contributes to like insecurities in men. A lot of men are insecure. You know what I'm saying? And one of the main things is because they watch porn. Now, to watch porn is like, like when a porn agency hits you up, because I mean they got a whole bunch of different categories, right? Like they got like they got porn with dudes with small wee wees, and they got porn with guys with big wee wees. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but a lot of times I feel like, it's so funny because I remember when we was going to school, and I remember they opened up my boy's laptop, and the first shit that came up was like BBC something. Like, so it was dumb funny, but I feel like this is like the categories that a lot of people are watching, right? Like, um, so they're watching like these guys with these big penises, and then like I feel like a lot of times guys start thinking like, oh, this is like the average, or this is like the norm, or this is like what it is. And I think like it just further creates an issue, right? Like an insecurity, I don't know what else, and insecurities could lead to a whole bunch of other shit. I don't know what else you want to say upon the matter, but I remember we was talking about this.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the about the boyfriend versus the one night stand dude or whatever. Yeah, I think that comes from porn. Definitely, I think that like women see that, men see it, right? Then we see like these men with like these very large penises, and we think that that's normal, or we think that that's what women want. When in fact, and even some women say that, right? Like some women even contribute to that, and some women be like, I want, you got to be this, you're going to have this size, boom, boom. And in reality, right, like a lot of times, like men with those sizes, right, that's not comfortable, right? That's not enjoyable. Um, but that's what it's usually when we watch porn, like we see men with like very large penises, and so you start comparing yourself to that, or you start thinking that this is what women actually desire, this is what women want. So yeah, I think that that also contributes to like a lot of insecurity, um, within men, and it's also like not also accurate in terms of like for women like what you actually need. You don't need that. You don't need that size in order to be satisfied during sex.
Yeah, I watch a video like that too, and yeah, like we said, a lot of guys learn having sex from porn, which is why a lot of guys just be in the bedroom hurting women. You know what I'm saying? And they think, and because in porn, right? Like it's like, and porn is not like a relationship, right? That shit is like a business. That shit is just like, just go in there and kill her shit till she die. And then it's just like, so people think like, oh, this is what women like. You know what I'm saying? And then the girls, they might be trying their best to moan and to act like they enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? So then it's like, dudes do that, right? Dudes go in the room, bang, 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 bang. You know what I'm saying? Like you might actually be hurting somebody. It's not pleasurable. It's not pleasing. But because you learned through porn, now you just like, you know what I'm saying? You really think you killed it and you really didn't. And then you be wondering why she don't link you again. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's the truth. Like a lot of people just learn, and a lot of people don't communicate in sex, right? They don't communicate because again, they're not doing. I mean, they doing it in porn, but like again, it's acting. Like, and it's funny, right? Because I feel like, and at some point they communicate, at some point they don't. They just be on some shut up, some aggressive, like don't talk, like spitting on them, like like you were saying. But 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 yeah, they be wild, man. Look. But I remember yeah, like it's funny. A lot of people don't communicate. And I think a lot of that is it also depends. Like I don't know what people be watching, to be honest, right? Um, but yeah, I think that people don't communicate. They don't ask their partner like, how does this feel? Is this good? And I think a lot of that depends on what you're watching. They might be watching some hardcore shit. They might, I don't know what these dudes is watching, right? But they just be like, yeah, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try this on Trisha when I catch or whoever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just the type of shit that like, what I'm saying? Like miscommunication, people be out here just wilding and then they be tooing their horn. Like, yeah, I did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's just some of the things. I don't know if you got anything else to say. Somebody said I be watching Black. Sure. But see what I'm saying? So yeah, somebody over here, you got somebody in their bag because they talking about PHP. You know what I'm saying? You keep talking about the numbers, you know what I'm saying? You could do the research, PHP. You know what I'm saying? You could do the research too. She said she did her homework. You could do your homework too, brother.
Anyway,
Um,
um,
huh?
but anyways, I was gonna say I think that porn also promotes unhealthy sex practices, right? So I think that very rarely
You
like
said unhealthy sex what?
practices.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I said very rarely like do we see porn stars use condoms during sex, right? Now porn stars get tested vigorously, right? Like porn stars are having safe sex because they're getting tested, right? They're not just out here just having raw sex and throwing in eggs, right? Oftentimes getting tested is a part of their contracts, right? But we're not seeing that, right? Like that's not, how sometimes when you watch a video game and they have like the warning before it, right? Or like they'll or like don't practice this at home or blah blah blah, right? We don't get that in porn, right? Like part of that is yeah, go ahead and try it, right? You know what I'm saying? That's also a part of like us watching it and the fantasy, right? So we're seeing images of raw sex, right? We're seeing images of like cream pies, right? Like that's what it's called. And cream pies is usually when a guy ejaculates inside of a woman, right? We're seeing like anal, right, to vaginal sex, right? Like a guy is having anal sex with a woman, he pulls out and puts it in her vagina, right? Which FYI, please do not do. Um, and I think that people are watching these things without fully comprehending the risk of participating in these activities. And so I think that, um, yeah, I think that porn just, it's just, it's unhealthy. It promotes a lot of unhealthy sex practices.
Definitely, man. Just like the music. You know, these dudes be talking about when I catch an app, I'm booming them. They're not doing that. But you know, the people that listen, they go out there and do it. So that's why I don't watch TV, right? TV, it feeds us a certain information. Music does too. I listen to music, but you know, I feel like I don't listen to to that drill shit all the time because I already know it alters the mind. You know what I'm saying? I got a little R&B. You know, I switch it out. I got a little reggae. You know what I'm saying? I got different playlists. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta alter it. You gotta. But anyway, you know what
Right.
I'm saying? We don't want to go too long. Make sure y'all hit the like button so it can circulate, so you could go around. You know, we apologize. We didn't do one of these in like a few weeks. You know, we've been slacking. I ain't gonna lie, we've been slacking. But yeah, like that's all I have to say. Like, you know, I think I think there's more harm than there's any what's the word I'm looking for? Any productiveness in pornography. They're not gonna admit it. They're not gonna, of course not. They get money off of it. Um, so they're not gonna tell you about the bad things. But I'm pretty sure you're gonna start seeing more like articles on it. You're gonna start seeing more like awareness being brought up on it. It's slowly coming. It's coming. So I appreciate everybody that tuned in, that stayed all the way with us, that commented. You know what I'm saying? That liked it. You know what I'm saying? That show love and show support to our show. We appreciate y'all. And till next time, you got anything else to say?
Nope.
Okay. Later, y'all.
Later.